first week, and then I'll go ahead and talk about Excel today on the second week for the second, on the second time, and then I'll let you guys. So that'll give you all next week to work on the Excel. Okay. One of the reasons I do that is because the Excel takes longer than the Word, and some people don't G and haul with it very well. Let's just put it that way. So we're going to use formulas. I'm going to explain to you that sometimes it's better to click on the cells or pick the commands instead of typing them in. It's the same thing, but for some reason the computer, it doesn't work the same way. Don't ask me why. I don't understand. I can type the same thing in, and one time it'll work and another time it doesn't, and I don't know if it's these files that we're using or what. So anyway, and there's parts of this that I may go over really fast because it's not my most favorite thing either, but I will try to be nice, be positive about it, because Excel is a really cool program. It's very handy. The basic stuff is stuff that you can use for a lot of different things. If you have your own business, you can make a, you know what? Did I turn the thing on? Well, he heard me, so yeah. And I am recording, so okay. Sorry, I'm a little paranoid about not recording stuff. Because, you can do a really great lecture and feel like you covered things really well and you did a good job, and students ask questions, and you interact, and it's a great, 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 perfect, awesome, and then you didn't record it. So, yeah. Anyway, I'll be interested when I come in, go back and try to edit some of this stuff to make it into an actual decent video, but anyway, yeah, what's up?
We have another person.
Another person? Oh. Okay. We do. Oh. Well, that's just DJ. That's okay. Cool. Nice. That's fine. Hey, whatever helps. Works for me. All right, so moving along. So we are going to work on Excel. And again, yeah, so that right there, probably I'll delete that. You can't see it anyway, so we're going to delete that. So I want to delete it? Sure. Okay. There's 4 parts to Excel, but the third part has a section in it, an assignment in it that I don't like, because it's just something you guys aren't really going to use. I had an Army colonel, retired colonel. He's actually, he teaches wherever welding is. Welding's over there now, I think. It's going to be over there. Anyway. But I think he's an adjunct still for welding. A very smart guy, real cool guy too. Well, anyway, he explained to me how to use that part of Excel, because that's something that they did in the military, in the Army. And if you've been in the military, they do death by PowerPoint, which is why I don't go over it, because PowerPoint's good if you're going to do something with like in the 3D printing class, we do PowerPoint because it's good for entrepreneurial kind of things. If you're wanting to try to sell somebody an idea, show somebody, hey, make a presentation, boom, this is what you do. Now with Excel, you can do a presentation to explain numbers and things. My son in his business classes did a lot of Excel that he hated. But I don't know that they made it fun, making Excel fun. It's not that it's not fun. It's just, it's actually really cool when it works right. Okay, I use it for a lot of different things. I have to do some reports at the end of the year, and I take grades and I have it average them out, and so then it tell me if it's less than this number, it equals 1. If it's greater than that, it equals 0 or reversed, whatever. So that I can figure out how many of you guys made 80% or better on the assignments for whatever objective I'm trying to cover. And I have those all saved so I can go back and reuse them, and I just put the information in and put student 1, student 2, student 3, because they don't want to see y'all's names. That's fine. So I don't do that. But anyway, whatever works, right? So other things, so like if you have your own business, so like I draw house plans, okay? So let's say I wanted to make invoices. I could make invoices on there and keep them in, kind of keep them, where it adds up everything. You put like how many hours you worked, how much it is an hour, or how many square foot the house is times however many cents a square foot. And then that would automatically calculate up your invoice. I'm sure you've heard of QuickBooks, and I forgot what the other one is, or what it used to be called. But anyway, that's basically just an Excel spreadsheet, okay? There is a part of the Google suite that is, it's called Sheets. If I remember right, that's the right one. And it's the same thing as Excel. Excel just happens to be the thing that people use in business, because they'll use the Office suite of stuff unless they're too cheap, and then they may use the Google stuff. I don't know. But anyway, so as with everything else, if you need to find Excel, you can type it in, EXCEL, and we have the app or the application installed on the computer, and you just pull it up here. Of course, remember, it is free to download off of the waffle, off of MyPath, and I did show you guys how to do that. I had a student that was freaking out online because Office costs something to download, and I'm like, well, actually it doesn't, but okay. So anyway, once I got that square, they're like, cool, awesome, thanks. I'm like, well, sorry that you didn't know. So there's something that I need to put in and make a little video saying, hey guys, when you start up the class, because I did that with you guys, but I need something on the online version too, like an intro video kind of thing. So anyway, that's something I got to work on, because apparently probably end up having that at some point, or I'll give it to somebody else to do. Anyway, so pops up, looks a lot like the Word one, where you've got a blank workbook is what we call them. And a workbook has pages in it, or sheets in it. They used to be limited, so many sheets per workbook and so on. I think they've kind of overridden all that now. So anyway, here's all the things like, here's my password thing. I got tired of trying to remember all my passwords and trying to find passwords, because I had them in notes on my Samsung, and then they changed it 3 different times, and I got tired of, you ever you're trying to look for something, and when you're trying to look for something, you can just skim right over it, not even realize it, right? So anyway, I decided, you know what? I can put Excel on my phone. Imagine that. Oh, and I can save it in OneDrive. I just hope that whenever I retire, that I can untangle my school OneDrive stuff from my personal OneDrive stuff, because I don't know if you've ever, so my daughter lost some contacts whenever she was trying to, when she killed her school Google account. Of course, she has a personal Google account, and so trying to make sure things go to the right place. So I'm hoping that I don't have stuff so entangled that it screws something up on one of my computers or something. Anyway, and then again, maybe I'll teach forever. Maybe I'll be an adjunct forever. Who knows? Maybe I'll be able to retire and go teach while I'm on vacation somewhere, Europe, somewhere else. I don't know. Anyway, so that's what retirement's supposed to be. Did you know retirement does not mean stopping doing stuff? Well, for some people, I guess it is. I get bored. But anyway, retirement means doing more of what you want to do. You just change jobs. Maybe work a little less than you're doing now. So anyway, that's the definition of retirement. It's not what I thought retirement was supposed to be. My dad is retired 3 times technically, because you could say when he got out of firewood, he retired from that too. He retired from teaching. He retired from driving a bus and being the director of everything. Anyway, so yeah. So it's all good. Now, anyway, moving back. Sorry, got sidewalled. But anyway, so I put my passwords on there. Why? Because I can put them in alphabetical order. Now, I'm not going to put this up on the screen because I'm recording it. Why would I do that and give you all my passwords? That would be a bad idea. I will find something else that I can show you how it can work. But basically what you can do is you can put things in order from, A to Z, or 1 to 0, or what, 1 to whatever. And what it'll do, it'll ask you if you want to, you can do like just a column. It'll ask you if you want to include the rest of the stuff. And you say, well, yeah. And then it'll grab everything and it'll line up everything the way you want, which is nice. And I don't recall if the exercises we're doing kind of does that, but I'm going to show you how it works. I'll try to find a dummy list of something and we'll do that. Okay, so. Like I even have a thing for the skills contest where figure out how many medals that I need to make. How many first place medals do I need? How many second place medals do I need? And so on. Because I can go in and figure out how many is going to be for each contest. And then I can have it, add all that up and then tell me so I can go, okay, cool. Or on the day of the contest, before the day of the contest, when I need to order the pizzas, I can figure out about how many, and then I can say, okay, well, each person's going to eat at least 2 pieces of pizza, right? So that means there's 8 pieces, so 8 divided by 2 is 4. So basically 4 people per pizza. So then I take the amount of people divided by 4, and then I'll add 10% or 20% or 15 or whatever. And so then I can take that and have that number, and I can make a formula that when I plug in how many people, it automatically tells me how many pizzas I need. Well, then I have to break it down, right? I have to break it down into pepperoni and cheese, and we used to do sausage. I don't do that anymore. Sorry, too bad. You can have pepperoni or you can have cheese, and we'll go from there. So anyway, so I can even figure that out, how percentage, figure out a percentage that we normally do, like let's say 80% pepperoni and 20% cheese. So I take that total of pizzas I need and, and then I have a little spot or one of these cells where it has a formula for that. And it tells me how many cheese, how many pepperoni I need, and I can call up Papa John to say, hey, I need to order this many pizzas. I need it on this day. So I do that all with Excel. And you're like, what the heck are you talking about? I'm trying to explain to you that there's some cool stuff you can do with Excel. You can also export stuff out from like SolidWorks, Inventor, AutoCAD. that you can use. Like you can pull out a parts list. So you can go shop, find the parts you need. Or help somebody order. Then you can put, anyway, it has all the part numbers and all that fun stuff. You can do material lists so that you can figure out how much something's going to cost. Like you can do a takeoff for a house on here and have it all add everything up so that you know what to order and so on and so forth. So a lot of contractors might use this. So anyway, basically it is set up to where you have columns and you have rows. So on drawings and maps, you can have this thing called zoning where you line things up. How many of you guys have ever actually looked at a real atlas? Not in a museum. So most of you guys, you rely on your phone to get from point A to point B. So basically my generation is about the last people in general that know how to read a map, that's a physical map. So if the world ends and so everybody, if the electronics get detonated and messed up, then we're the ones that are going to survive because we're going to be able to read a map. It doesn't, be electronic. That's just what, people are always saying. Anyway, so it is helpful if people know how to actually read maps and understand how they work and all that. It is nice to have it on the phone and have it tell you, turn here, hey, you're going to turn at the second light, because, roads do get confusing. So it is nice because sometimes you need to take that exit right there. Yeah. So, sometimes people aren't quite as quick on the draw. So anyway, but where I'm going with this is in an atlas, it'll use columns and row numbers to locate where something is on the map. We can do that with drawings too. It's called zoning. So like if you were looking at an atlas and you're wanting to know where Albuquerque, New Mexico is, or maybe it's some obscure name, like Roswell. You want to go see where the aliens landed, right? Go see Area 51. Anyway, you could look at it. You go in the back of the atlas. It tells you the number, what row and column it would be located on your map, and so you can use that to locate it. So that's how we locate things in Excel. You've got a column and you got a row. So you have like A1, C4. I'm calling out these and then I'll say bingo. Because that's just what you do. Because it sounds similar, right? Because when you go to bingo, they're saying O46 and I32. And then the next thing you know, somebody goes, bingo, bingo, I got bingo. Anyway, anybody like to play bingo? Cool. Yeah. Good fundraiser for some people. Some people think it's gambling, but if you're having fun and you have a stopping point, you're good. So, anyway, it's mostly the fun part. All right, so moving along. All right, so the first, I think it's the first two assignments you do, maybe. Well, just like on the rest of them, some of these assignments you're going to start with a blank document. How's it going?
Good. Sorry.
No, you're fine. And so I was like, well, he's normally here. Well, maybe he's, something happened. It's okay. You're good. We'll fix you on the attendance. You're good. All right. Actually, I need to fix you too. So I'll check you guys off. So anyway, you're going to start with a blank document. And this is set up similar to Word. So a lot of these things are going to be the same. Now, you remember we talked about, let's see, where is it at? is under data, no. Formulas, no. Layout, yeah. Okay, so under page layout is where you're going to find the themes. Now remember I said something about the colors, right? The colors may not match up because of a different theme. And somebody tell me, says, yeah, my colors, they're not exactly the same. I just wanted to let you know. And of course it was online class, and I went, oh, right. So here's how you fix that. Explained it. They were actually using a different, like a free Office suite, and I told him, hey, you can go download this. And he goes, oh, cool. I got it all downloaded. Thanks. So I got them fixed up, so that worked out. But I also explained that the colors could be also different because you're not on the right theme. So in Excel, it's under page layout. And the one that you want to use so that stuff shows up right on the directions would be the 2013 to 2022, because we're using a 21. I don't have a clue what version of the 365 is installed. I thought it was 21, but obviously it's something else. But we're using the 21 book because I haven't had to change my assignments yet. It's always fun because then you figure out the stuff you want to do and the stuff you don't want to do. Like I said, the third part of Excel, I don't want to do because it has VLOOKUP, which it's one of those concepts that if I have a hard time getting it, why should I put you guys through it, especially if it's something that's you're not really going to mess with? Because the main stuff on here that I want to show you how to do is you can lay out and do some basic formulas, understand the cells and the rows and how to format them and all that kind of stuff. We are going to do some charts. Now, some of the charts are a little fun. There's one of them that if you don't follow the directions exactly right, and yes, you can get lost a little bit, and maybe it's not as clear maybe where to go. We'll try to explain. But yeah, the scatter chart. Anyway, the scatter chart one, the main thing is you have one on there and that you did try to figure it out. Don't tell me that you tried to figure it out and you did. You just kind of said, well, I got the 2 dots on there. Well, maybe it has more than 2 dots. Anyway, so you'll probably ask questions about that one, and that's okay. We'll try to get it figured out. And some people, they can go right through it and they make it work just fine. And I'm like, now, if I could figure out what you did, how you read it, how you interpreted it, so that I could explain that to everybody else, so that everybody could there it is. But in general, the charts aren't that bad, and it's just having a basic understanding of how to do them is part of what we want to do. That's the fourth part, okay? All right, so in the first part, other than changing our theme here, you got margins that you can mess with, orientation, page size, print area. So every month I have to turn in a statement for my school credit card that I buy stuff for my department here and other people. But anyway, use their money to buy stuff with my card. It's in my name, whatever. So anyway, I have to print off this Excel sheet that tells me the charges. Well, they also want me to put this number that I do a form for school, and they want that number so that it's associated with that charge so they can track it and they can make sure that we didn't steal the money or something. I don't know. Anyway, just following directions. So what I have to do is I have to actually change the print area. And something simple as that is, so like under view over here, you've got normal view, page break preview, which I don't have any information, so it doesn't have it broken down. But if I did, it would show stuff. So anyway, like normal. But what I was going to say is, like if you highlight something, here we go. So now that I did that, if you can't really see it on here, well, maybe you can. But like vertically, it's showing some dotted lines, and then horizontally, it's showing some dotted lines. Those are my sheets. And it only did that because I went over to page break preview and came back. So now it's showing me what the print area is. Well, what if I had something on there and it wasn't going to print right? Because see, what happens is when you guys turn this stuff in, it gives me a print preview on Blackboard so that it pops up and I can tell if you follow directions, because you have to do the page setup right. If you have the page set up, or print setup or whatever, set up correctly, then it'll show up correctly and I'll know that you did it. The other thing is, it tells it on some of them, it says for you to show the formulas. Well, if it does, then click on the little button that says show formulas, and I'm going to check anyway, because I can usually tell if you did the work or not, especially if you sat there for 3 hours working on one thing and you had a calculator out, and I'm going, I'll probably catch on at some point, walk over and go, hey, use the formulas. It's way easier because, you just click on this little button and you drag it down. Leave your name here. I'm not answering the phone. All right, so anyway. You also have some zoom features, so we can zoom up here. Make things a little bigger. So like, you have to think about when you're setting things up. So like on one of the assignments, it tells you, and it gives you each cell where to put things. So like if you're supposed to put, I don't know, date in this one, and then maybe you're supposed to put the items, and maybe in this one you're supposed to put. Now I don't have to skip, because what I could do is if you click up here, like I click on this, if you go in between your columns, you can drag them. Now you can also right click on it, and you should be able to go to column width right here. So if you right click on it, you can go to column width. And so like some of the instructions tell you to set the column width for column C to whatever, and you can set it to that. The same thing goes for rows. If you were to click on a row here and right click on it, you can go to right. So how tall does it need to be? If it tells you it's supposed to be 18, you could type in 18 and it would make it 18. Well, what if you needed a whole bunch of them to be the same height? Okay, well, you can do that. You can go over here where the rows are, and you can just hold down your left button and highlight them, right click inside of the grouping there, go to row height, and let's say they were all supposed to be 20, and they'd all be 20. And then let's say you needed, well, here, let's put this guy over here. So, you can drag stuff to, oops, you could drag stuff. Okay, if you get the move icon, you can drag stuff. So I'll drag that over there. What if you want to copy something? Well, when you click on a thing here, and actually just hold on a sec, we'll do something here in a minute. So if I got that there, let's see, items, let's see, amount, and stock or something like that. I don't know. So the arrow keys, you can use them to move around the different cells, okay? However, when you're typing things in a cell, just remember that the arrow keys aren't going to work. unless you actually like double click into the cell, okay? Or up here in where this bar up here, this is called the formula bar. That's where whatever is inside the cell will show up and you can edit. I used to have to put my travel information to request to go to a professional development training thing. It was on an Excel sheet. And they didn't have it set up to where the text wrap would do what I wanted and what I was hoping it would do. So I would have to go and I would have to edit each line, which was a lot of fun, to make it do what I wanted. So I'd be like copying and pasting, paste, copy, paste, and then deleting stuff. So like items, you click on items. Well, like if you wanted to add something to it, you can click up there in the formula bar, items for sale. And then I hit enter. Now you'll notice that it didn't run over into the next cell. It would have if there wasn't anything there. But since there's something there, it will. Or it doesn't show up. So what do I do? Well, if I just wanted to manually, I can go up here in between the two and grab it and make it bigger, like that. If I had a specific width that I knew, which I usually don't, I usually just drag it to make it work. So, you know, it's okay to go in and you type information in different cells, and then you can go back and you can adjust the cells either manually or if you know a size, you can do that too. All right. Questions on that? That's pretty straightforward and simple, right? So, all right, so the date. Well, how does it know it's a date? How does it know these are text? Well, up here where it says, this is right here, are the different kinds or formatting for cells. So your student number starts with 00, so 00, yeah, yours is either 001, 002, or 003. Now, how do I know if you have a 001, that means that you've been in the system for a long time, because we're up to the 003s now. Is that good or bad? It doesn't matter. It's just what it is. That means, hey, maybe you were here a while back and you came back to take classes. That's cool. Mr. Fordham here probably has, I don't know, his might be a 2. I can't remember how long it's been. I don't remember when he first started coming in here, because I've been here for a while. So anyway, how do I get the 00 to show up? So I have to think about that, because remember I told you on the thing for my credit card for school, there's a 00 something number that I have to put on there. Well, I want that 00 to show up. So I have to go tell that not to be a number cell, I have to tell it to be something else. So what I do is I tell it to be a text cell, and then it's like, but this is a number. I'm like, yes, it is. Shut up. Leave me alone. I want it to show up a certain way. So I turn it into a text cell, and it overrides. So you have to figure out workarounds to make things do what you want to do, because Excel is number driven. Okay, it can slice and dice and do all kinds of stuff with numbers and make all kinds of cool stuff. But sometimes you have to figure out how to make something do what you want it to do, because it's how it's programmed. Computer's only going to do, and software is only going to do what you tell it to. So what if I wanted this to be a date? Well, I want that to be a text. And so let's say all 4 of these are going to be text. Okay, apparently they are text. Okay, well, so yeah, there we go. All right, so then like I want this to be a date. Well, I could go ahead and pregame this and say, hey, I want this to be a date. So do we want a short date or a long date? Probably a short date. So how do I get these below it to have the same formatting? Well, first of all, why don't I type in a date and see if it works, right? So what is today? Today is 8/28/2025. So 08/28/25. Okay, if I didn't have it set up as a date, it might, with that slash, try to divide those numbers. That's division. If I used a dash, it might try to subtract them. It also might think, well, maybe it is a date, maybe it's not, but it assumes it's a number first. And it assumes you're going to do math, even though you didn't make it a formula. So you have to make it a formula for it to really do something. So sometimes it'll get confused. So when you click on the date format for that cell and go, oh, I want it to be a date, boom, there it fixes it. Now, how do I just get to copy the formatting down? Well, what I can do is if you click on your cell that you had the formatting in, and there's a little green dot in the bottom right corner. If you grab that and drag it down, well, it can actually copy. Like if you wanted dates that sequentially, like 8/28, 8/29, 8/30, 8/31. So if you had dates that you wanted to go on there, you could do that and it would copy them. What if you just wanted the formatting? Well, you'll notice there's a little box down there at the bottom. Autofill options. So you can copy the cells. So if you want the same thing in each cell, you can do that too. If you want fill formatting only, which is what I want, fill without formatting, fill days, fill weekdays, fill months, fill years, flash fill. So there's these different options there. I'll be right with you, just hang on a second. So anyway, I want to do fill formatting. So now when I put something in here, if I were to put in 4-25-24, then it would put in a date for me. Okay. Did you have a question? Both? It depends on the situation. So, had a question from the peanut gallery. Says, so how do you want to fix there's two options actually. You can wrap the text, which is actually what I normally do. So that's a very good question. Thank you for asking. It's easier, I don't know, not easier, but depending on what you want to do. But most of the time, I will actually turn on text wrapping, which that's a good point. So if it's too skinny, and actually the instructions are going to tell you a lot of times to, or it may not, but it's a good thing to get in the habit of turning on text wrapping. So like, let's say just for that cell, I wanted to do text wrap. Well, under the Home tab, you click on Wrap Text, and there it is. Well, maybe you didn't quite like it like that. Maybe you wanted it to be centered. So then you go around the alignment area, and you can center things. You can center it vertically. You can center it left to right. How many of you guys, it bothers you when things aren't exactly centered? Mm-hmm. Or can bother you when certain things aren't centered? Well, that's how you fix it. You highlight it, pick it, whatever, so that it's selected, and then you can click on the alignment to whatever it needs to be. Sometimes numbers will be on one side or the other. I guess it's okay if there's a whole column, a whole bunch of numbers lined up in columns or rows. That might make sense. But to me, I just like things in the center. I'm just kind of weird that way. But yeah, so text wrapping is always good to have on. I like using that a lot. You can get things to, well, that's how you get it to not go into the other cell to begin with. You turn on text wrapping and it'll just automatically wrap it around. It'll make the row larger, taller, and go from there. And really, to answer your question is, it depends on what you're doing, on which one really matters. But I always turn on text wrapping because I think it's a good thing to do anyway. You may want to go ahead, you may need to make it a certain width anyway, depending on the design of your spreadsheet. One of the most, I don't know, trying to think about what you need in a spreadsheet sometimes. You're trying to lay it out and figure out, what am I going to use this for? How do I need to do it? Sometimes it's really frustrating because you don't know necessarily what you need sometimes. So, but things, good habits to get into are things like turning on the wrap text. Let's see. If you needed to make, now I will tell you this. When you join cells together, which I'm going to show you how to do in a minute, if you do that for something you're going to have data in, it's not good. Because when you try to copy and paste sometimes, and you have cells that have been joined together into one, it doesn't like it. It'll give you an error and say it can't copy it into here, or it'll give you, it can mess with you. So things that have data in them, make sure they are one cell. It's just an FYI from me, from personal experience. That means that I didn't do a good job designing my spreadsheet. All I thought I was going to do was copy and paste in, activities that I did so that, I could have proof to show people for my promotion packet thingy. Come to find out, it wasn't a great design because I connected 2 or 3 cells together, and if I copied from a single cell into the one put together, it didn't like it. So I learned that that wasn't a great idea in designing. So it's better to have things, in this case, would be make this wider maybe. So maybe I need this to be a certain length, like that. But let's say I decided, you know what, I need to put some kind of a title up here, maybe, like a banner or whatever, or to, give, this is what my spreadsheet's about, because maybe I was going to print it off. Maybe I was using it for, that's probably what I should have done for my menu over there with the money and all that on the refrigerator. Would have been better because I could space things and anyway. So what if I need to add in something? Well, you can right click and you can insert in, and the one online, it'll even ask you if you want to insert it above or below where you're at. Now, let's see what this one did. I don't remember it again. Let's look. It just says insert. Well, on this one, it typically inserts above where you're at. Now, remember this. Whatever the formatting is, or at least the size of the one that where you hit insert, it takes the one, I have to remember now, takes the size, yeah, it didn't take the size of the one I was at, but it took the norm, whatever the regular size would have been, like for number 4, right there. So it takes the one above it, that size. So when I've inserted sometimes, I didn't pay attention, or, I couldn't help it, I need to insert that, insert a row, boom. And so it made it a certain size. Well, I have to go back and fix it. It's fine. That's just part of it. So if you ever wonder, why did it make it that big? I did it on this one and it was this big. Well, it used the one above it. Now the one online, like I said, it asks if you want to insert it above or below where you're at, which I thought was kind of cool, and I don't know why this one doesn't. So anyway, weird stuff happens. So if I want to make this one bigger, I'll just make it bigger. And so what I was going to tell you is what if I wanted these four to be one big block? Well, there's this other thing up here called merge and center. It's got a down arrow where you can do merge and center, merge across, merge cells, unmerge cells. So I'm just going to do merge and center. Now, what does that mean? That means that I can go in and type, let's see, stock. Okay, well, it's not in the middle, so I have to click out of it because while I'm there, it's not going to do anything. So I have to hit enter to get out of it, but I can go back afterwards and click back on it. Now I can mess with it. I can do center like that way. I already had it centered this way. Center it this way. If I wanted to make it a certain color for fill, I could go up here to my fill. Do my fill color. Remember, we have those ones where you have weird, gold accent 4 or orange accent 2, lighter 40%. Yeah, we still have stuff like that here. Let's say I was going to use that one. Let's say I didn't like the color of the text. I wanted to make it white. Maybe I wanted to make it bold. Maybe I don't like the size. I want it bigger, so I can make it bigger like that. Or if I knew what size I wanted, I could use size there. What if I want there to be borders on it? How we do that? Well, this one's a little easier. It's got the borders button right up here next to your fill. So you can click on that. And let's say you wanted all borders. Okay, all borders. Boom. See, now it's got borders that show up. See, the cells are in gray just to give you an idea of where they are. They're not going to print unless you tell them to print. But if you want it to show up and look like a ledger or something, like look like something you'd see on a piece of paper, just to help you to be able to see things, then that's where you would go in and add things. So like, what if I went in and I grabbed this little chunk right in here? So what I just did is I selected a range. Now, it's not what you cook on, but it is a bunch of things from point A to point B. Point A is A2. So it's A2 colon, A2 colon down to D17. Okay, that's a range. So that's a whole bunch of cells picked. Now, that's an adjacent range. That means it's cells that are next to each other. How do you tell it to do a non-adjacent range? Well, you have a control button, right? You do it with the mouse, you do it with control, and then I could hold down control and I could add these down here. Thanks. So I mentioned earlier that sometimes it works better if you select with the mouse the stuff on the screen, commands and so on, formulas and all that good jazz, instead of typing it in. I mean, you can type some stuff in. I don't know why. In some things it works, even though it's the same exact thing. It doesn't work unless you do it through the formula deal. So anyway, this is how you can pick a non-adjacent thing if you're using it for one of the formulas. You highlight something, then you hit Control. Control lets you make it separate, okay? It's just like if you're in File Manager and you want to pick 5 different files, be careful because for some reason in that situation, it'll make copies of things if you try to do too many. But if you want to do like pick this one and then this one and then this one down here, you use Control to pick them separately. Well, you can do the same thing here. You use Control so that you can do that. All right. So anyway, does that make sense? Maybe, hopefully. So that is a non-adjacent range. All right, so get off of that. So if I wanted to just affect this right here, let's say I wanted this to be my little spreadsheet area, kind of looks like a notebook. And I said, okay, I want all these things divided off. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say, yeah, you know what? I like all borders. All borders are good. So I do that, and now it kind of looks like a document of some kind. And then, I can do things like, okay, so what if I wanted to have maybe, maybe I put over here totals, T-O-T-A-L-S. I'll do it in all caps. Maybe. Totals. So then, so let's say item for sale, amplifier, CD changer, radio, CD player, oops, D player, back up there, and we'll fix that. C, capital D, and let's see, two-way speaker, 5, three-way, 6 by 9, and let's see, what else do we need? What else do we need? Oh, crossover. Let's see. All right, so I got a list of cardio crap here. All right, so how many do I have? Okay, let's say I've got 6 amplifiers, 4 CD changers, let's see, 2 CD players, add this thing to the pair. All right, so let's say I've got 1 pair of those, 2 pair of those. Let's say I've got 3 crossovers, 5 fuse holders, 4 of those, and 1 of those. I actually don't have 1 of those. But anyway, I may or may not have some of that stuff. Anyway, all right, so, and actually that was not what I wanted. These numbers I needed to be over here. So, I need to go over there like that. All right, notice that it got rid of my formatting. So when you do the move thing, it messes with your formatting. I believe cut does also. So let's do this. Control Z, and let's see. So if I did this, and then I said, you know what? We're going to cut it. Control X, and then I'm going to pick this over here, and do Control V. It did the same thing. Okay, Control Z. So what can I do to not lose the formatting in that one? Well, what I can do is just do a copy and paste, and it doesn't jerk everything out of there. Now, yes, it just gave me one more step to do. So did I save time? Probably not. I'm just not as annoyed as I was. So anyway, so I can do, did I do Control C? I don't remember. You know what? I'm going to hit escape. You'll notice that it makes a dashed line whenever you copy, paste, and all that, or copy and cut and stuff. And you can also just click here. I don't have to highlight the whole area, because what happens is if you highlight more than what you started with, it starts the list over again. So if you had 9 cells and then you actually highlighted 12 cells over here to copy it to or paste it to, it would actually start your list over again, which may or may not be a good thing. So you don't have to highlight the same area. You can just click where you want it to start and then do your paste. Now there are options for pasting, you know. And the nice thing here is it lets you go back and choose maybe you didn't want that. So what if you just want the numbers? You don't want the formatting that come with the numbers. You can do that. What if you want just the formatting and not the numbers? You can do that. So there are some cool things that you can do with paste on here that's different from that. That's different from Word, basically. Anyway, so let's say I wanted that there. Okay, that's good. I'm going to click out of there. Now, what if I didn't want anything in this right now? I wanted to get rid of these numbers. I can just highlight it and hit delete, and it'll go away. Okie doke. And or is it something else? Oh. When do we add a label to something? I don't know what you're talking about. A label. Just hang loose. I'll answer your question as we go through. All right. Okay, so I mean, I'm technically labeling things here, but I'm not exactly sure what you mean, and we'll go from there. Just hang loose. All right, so amount. So maybe I want to put a value on these, okay? Okay, value is what? Money, right? So it would be some kind of decimals, right? Or I can make it money. What if I needed it in euros? What if I needed it in pounds? British pounds. You know, you have to be specific. You know, there's US dollars, there's Australian dollars. Aren't there Canadian dollars? I think they're dollars also. So we just say, when we say dollars, you know, it's our money. It's what we're talking about. We're here. Well, in the world, we have to, you know, be a little bit more specific. Of course, you know, the British have to say pounds sterling, you know, because it's supposedly backed up by silver, I guess. But whatever. Just being mean, sorry. I like British people. There's nothing. I have nothing against them at all. So right now, this is set up as general, I believe. And what I want it to be is money. So I'll go to currency. And so then it's like, okay, well, what kind of currency? Okay, so I can click on this little thing here, and I can go English, pounds, United States money, United Kingdom, euros, Chinese, French, Switzerland, apparently. I have a feeling they're euros. But anyway, I assume they're still part of the union. Anyway, so I'm just going to do dollars. And why is it not accounting? Oh, because that's money. Anyway, so if it says accounting, you're dealing with money. Duh, should have known that. Because I put currency, it says, oh yeah, that deals with money, so we're going to put you under accounting. Okay, fine. It's under accounting. All right, so let's say the amplifier. Okay, I don't know. The amplifier is $100. So we'll put $100. CD changer, we'll say it's 50. CD player, we'll go 25 because they're cheap. We'll go $20 on that. We'll do $40 on that. Crossover, maybe it was $80. Fuse holder, maybe 5. Fuse bank, 10. And the capacitor was 35. All right. So I've got, and actually, this totals thing should be up here. So when you're building it, you can always things, okay? Because you never get things exactly the way you want the first time. At least I never do. So let's say, no, the totals actually need to be up here. And this guy. So I'm like, all right, well, we'll take this guy. And I'll just do Control X. And then I'll paste him up here. Control V. Now that didn't mess with my formatting any because I didn't have this hooked up anyway. So what do I do now? Well, what I can do is I can take these two and I can undo the merge and center and then remerge it like that. So what I did is I clicked on merge and center to undo it. Then I clicked on it again while it's highlighted and it expanded it over. So I fixed that. Now I can do this and I can go back and click on this thing again, add that little part in there. So, okay. So how do I figure out? I know I have 6 of them and they're $100. Well, I could do the math on that and say that's $600. And I could type in $600. So the formatting for these needs to be, and I'll go ahead and pull it all the way down. It needs to be currency. Or we'll do counting because I want it in dollars. So it should automatically do that for me. All right, so how do I make it figure this out? Okay, so I come up here and you can click on F of X if you want to, but if you hit the equal sign, it has to have the equal sign for it to recognize it as a formula. Otherwise, it just thinks it's text. Okay. All right, so I could do something simple like this. I could type in this and then use the asterisk for times, and then I could click on this. Notice that I clicked. I didn't type it in. Don't ask me why. Sometimes it works better when you click on it instead of typing it in. But you can do a simple math problem this way. Equals this cell times this cell, and then you click on the check mark, and it'll do it for you. Now, you know what's really cool? You're thinking, oh, crap, I have to type that in every time all the way through there. Why would I make you do that? Well, I could just not show you and then make you do it, but why would I do that? Why would I waste your time? Your time's important, my time's important. So you go in and you pick the little button right there and drag it on down. Boom. So I have students every time that will say, oh, well, that's really cool. I did, because I show them that after I've already done this, and they didn't pay a bit of attention. So that's why I go over this, not to put you to sleep, because I'm trying to show you stuff that's going to be helpful, I hope. No, that's not the passive aggressive mean Mr. Doty coming out. I'm just being honest with you. Because people do that. Students do that. People in general do that. Work on something else instead of listening to what you're doing. It's like I can't have the TV on and try to work at the same time. I'm too ADHD, ADD, whatever you want to call it, squirrel. I can't, because I want to watch the tennis match that's at the U.S. Open instead of finishing the house plan that I should be doing or grading your homework or something that maybe I should be doing. Although I was here all day and maybe I should not be doing anything except watching the tennis game. But anyway, tennis match. So I have to go turn on some music where it's not got visual and concentrate on working on whatever. Because I can sit there and sing and all that and draw. No problem. Great stuff. No problem. You add a visual to it, I'm out of luck. So anyway, so here we are. Another thing you didn't want to know, and now you do. So there you go. All right, just an example. So that's a way of doing a simple formula. Okay. Well, what if you wanted to know what the total was of your whole inventory, right? Okay, well, I could say I could do something over here, and let's say I said, okay, well, let's do inventory totals. And come over here. I say I use the arrow keys to move around, okay? Don't do it for moving around while you're editing text. You can only do that if you double click on the cell or if you click up in the top in the formula bar to edit, okay? But when you're just out and about, you can move around with your arrow keys. So, so inventory total. So I need to know, I needed to count all of these, right? I needed to add all that up, right? It's got a really cool tool that's easy to use. So I'm going to put this here, and then I'm going to find up here in, let's go to formulas. Where's that? There it is. So on your home bar, you come over here, there's a formula area. Well, there's a thing called auto sum, and it has that epsilon. Looks like a cool, interesting looking E, right? It's Greek. And so you can do auto sum. And what it'll do is it'll automatically put in equals sum, and then it'll put in the range, D3 colon D17, because it's everything above that. Well, if I add anything in between there, it'll catch it, right? That's better than me just picking those few cells and doing that. But this is neat because it's an automatic thing, auto sum, boom. And then you just hit the check mark, and it tells me that I have 28 items that my wife thinks I should get rid of. May or may not be accurate. Could be more, could be less. Well, I could be including things that I'm actually using, but anyway. Well, if I didn't have her, I'd just waste all my money on things that I don't really need, and I just have a bunch of crap laying around. So, it's good to have somebody who isn't as much of a stuff person. It helps. So anyway, total. So then I could do how much. I can do the same here. Well, what if I just took this and copied it over by grabbing the little thing? What does that do? It says 1290. Okay, 1290. What? Well, maybe I need to maybe I just need to take this guy and drag him down, but click on here and just say fill formatting. Uh-oh, he doesn't like it. Now, what happens when you get a bunch of hashtags? Who came up with that? Hashtag. Isn't a hashtag a @ symbol, or is a hashtag no, that's a pound symbol. Sorry. Anyway, they come up with new names for stuff, and I'm like, it's the @ symbol. What the heck? Anyway, if you get a pound symbol, which is the tic-tac-toe, hang loose, just hang loose. I'll be right with you. Chill. Sometimes you just have to widen things out to make it work. There you go. All right. What is the question? Oops, gotta click on it. Get it to come up. Okie dokie. How do we add a label? In the directions, we have to add a label. How do we do the same thing but with multiplication? I just showed you multiplication. I need more information, Evan. You're going to have to tell me on the instructions for which assignment. Okay? Then I can help you. And I can go figure out what you mean by labels. Give me a minute, and I'll look at it here in a minute after I get done kind of going through this. Okay? So just hang in there. Maybe I'll answer your question, but just hang loose. It's all good. You can lower your hand. All peaches. Just hang in there. Okay. All right. And this goes for everybody. The worst thing you can do is ask me a question and not give me any breadcrumbs to help you figure out where you're at. Because I have no idea what you're talking about until, okay, it's like coming into the middle of us. It's like talking to me whenever I start talking about something and I'm already on the second page. And Mr. Anderson goes, I was kind of waiting to see exactly what because I really had no idea what you were talking about. And like, oh yeah, I guess I started that in my head, didn't I? Oops. Sorry, I was already, anyway. So, and that's the way it is with me. I need to know, like, you know what class you're in, you know what assignment you're working on. And it's fine. It's nothing. I'm not being negative. I'm just saying, help a brother out and just say, hey, by the way, I am working on this, this, and this. When you tell me what class it is, if I don't know, like this class, obviously, but if you don't tell me what assignment it is, then I'm lost. And I'm like, yes, I am awesome, and I know a lot about all this stuff, but it's also been 4 months since I've done this exact lesson, and so I might be a little rusty on remembering where something is, and that's okay. And maybe, you're calling it a label, but to me it means something else, and I'm like, oh, gotcha. So just, be patient, hang in there, but if you have questions, yeah, do ask. I'm fine with questions. And I'll do my best to check out your answer online, but I also have to try and go through all this stuff too. Okay? So we'll just be patient with each other and it's all good. All right. So, so basic formulas. Well, I mean, it's all similar. You're probably working on either the truck driving one or could be even working on the first one. But anyway, that's why I need to know which one it is. So anyway, you could do basic formulas and you could just copy the formula. So like the next time, so what if I did this? Let's say I added something in here and I said that I had 16 of this, 2 of that, 6 of this, and this is worth $2. This is 50 cents. these were a quarter. And I do that and it updates my information. So like this, that's how many I've got of whatever, of everything. And then that's how much it's worth. Now the problem is here is I didn't fix this formatting here, so I gotta fix my formatting. And click on this and do fill formatting only, like that. So you can fix things after you do it. Okay. So does that kind of make sense a little bit? Yeah, I'm used to this. People are trying to work through the assignment while I'm talking, and I'm sorry, but I can't do that myself and really do a good job. And I know we're all impatient, and it's okay. It's all good. But that's just a simple spreadsheet right there. Gives me an inventory, and you know what? Maybe I'll save this one, and I might actually do that instead of writing it down on a piece of paper and then, manually. Okay, I've got 5 of this, 4 of that. But I could do that, and maybe that would make me realize that maybe I have too much crap. Maybe I should get rid of this stuff. Maybe I should put it on eBay. You ever looked on eBay and it's something that's really old, and yet they're like vintage, so then they like double the price. That's how much it was when it came out. Why I can't say nice words about is that much? It's not a comic book. Come on. It's a comic book, and you're like, really? It's worth that much? Oh, it has a small defect, or it says acceptable. I'm like, what's your idea of acceptable? Why don't you put some more pictures on there, and I'll decide if it's acceptable or not. Anyway. All right, so this is just a basic little spreadsheety thing. Sheet-y thing. Not what it sounded like. But anyway. All right. But yeah, so let's see. That's not it. That's it. Oh, are you still there? Yes, I am. Let's go back. Okay. So let's go look in Excel, module 1, learn it. All right. So this one talks about navigating through the worksheet, changing the active sheet. So down here at the bottom are where your different sheets are, okay? So some of the files that you get are going to have little tabs down at the bottom. And if you right-click on it, you can name it something else. So like one of the ones, it's a car rental company, and it's got like 4 different, I think this is in the last one because you have to do charts. And so if you take information from one sheet and use it on another sheet, you can do that. It's really cool. And when you update the other sheet, it updates on your other, if they're all hooked together. It's really neat. So the sheets are down there on the bottom too. So a new sheet would have other information on it, like plus there's sheet 2. Oops, sorry. There's sheet 3, sheet 4. Let's say sheet 3 was going to be, let's see, rename. Let's see, inventory to sell. All right, maybe sheet 1. That was going to be inventory or master inventory. All right, then maybe sheet 2 was going to be rename inventory to keep. All right, hopefully I spelled that right. All right, well, what if I wanted all this on another page, like the format? How could I do that? Well, what I could have done is instead of just hitting plus, I could have was going to say move or copy. I could click on move or copy and create a copy. And I could have hit move to end. I like to hit move to end. I don't know why, but anyway. Before sheet, how about before sheet inventory to keep and hit OK. All right. And that's all right. So then, so look, these two are copied now, right? Well, what if I didn't like this one? I just say, you know what? I don't like that one. I'll get rid of it. And you know what? I'll get rid of that one. And I'll just rename this one and call it, I can move around now. We'll just click on it and then we'll do that. And master inventory, and then we'll just boom. Inventory to keep. Oops. Keep. All right, so I made a copy of it, and there it is. So I could take and maybe go back and forth and so on. But that's how you can mess with different sheets. Okay. All right, so let's see. Change active sheet, selecting a cell range, closing, opening. That's pretty self-explanatory. New workbook. Well, that was real easy. We just went here, and you just click on File, and click on New, and there's a new one. Boom. Really simple. All right, entering text, entering dates and numbers, undoing, redoing. Okay, you guys should know how to use undo and redo. Although most of the time Control-Z that's our undo button. You also have the little arrows up at the top where you can undo and redo. So you undo something and then you undo too far, right? So then you can redo it. Hopefully, just remember whenever you close out a file and you open it back up, there's no redoing and undoing because it's done. That's like it went out of RAM, it's gone. Okay, moving, saving a workbook, that should be straightforward. Deleting worksheets. Well, I did that. I showed you. Just right click on the tab and hit delete. Editing cell content, understanding autocomplete. Okay, so autocomplete. It's randomly weird that sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So if you keep typing amplifier in, well, maybe you put in car amplifier, then you put in car, I don't know, something else, car speaker, car crossover, car whatever. Well, every time you type car and then you hit enter or space bar to go to the next part, it's going to say, do you want to do this? Which sometimes is nice, but sometimes it's not what you want. So sometimes the autocomplete's kind of eh. But you mess with autocomplete, turns like into lime every time when it tries to autocorrect your stuff for you. Well, autocomplete's the same idea. Stuff pops in there, and is that what you want or not? And then if you click on it, did it add a bunch of extra stuff that you didn't really want? So there is that. All right. So undoing, redoing, editing cell, understanding autocomplete, numbers as text. Now, that's what I was talking about, where you change the formatting to text so that the number will show up the way you want. And so that's where I was talking about, like on here, let's say that I need to add this cell in here, and I say, you know what, if I put it in as, okay, so if I just type in 00256, okay, it kept it as 00256. That's hilarious because usually it won't do that. All right, let's go back. Oh, it's text. Maybe I had it as text. Although this is what happens. It gives you the number in this cell is formatted as text or preceded by an apostrophe. Yeah, but that's how I can get the 00 to show up in front of it, is by making it a text instead of a number. Now, well, and what if now, so like here, these have two decimal places. So if you have something as a number, 26.825, enter. All right, so it did that. So what did it call it? Now it says general. Well, let's say number. We'll make it a number. So then it says, oh, wait, you want it to two places? Because apparently it's going to put it at two places. Well, what if you wanted the third place? Or maybe you only want one. How do you fix that? Well, up here under the number thing, you can decrease decimal places or you can add decimal places. So like a lot of times on my information that I'm doing for these objectives to turn in for this paperwork, I just want a whole number. I want it to round it to the nearest whole number. Now, I guarantee you on here, if it's 0.5, so that says 825, right? What's it going to round up to or down to? So 825. So if I want to get rid of one, it's going to say 83 because that's what we've all been taught. But for some reason, some engineer people somewhere decided that it'd be real fun to say, well, actually, so in AutoCAD, what happens is if that number in front of it, so let's add it back in. So that number in front of the 5, if it's even, it stays the same. If it's odd, it goes up. 125 becomes 0.12. 0.375 becomes 0.38. Because one of them's even, one of them's odd. Don't ask me where they came up with that. It doesn't math. And this is a current version of a math-intensive program. That's how we round things. Why engineering came up with that idea, I don't know. But it happened in the last 15 years or 20 years. I don't know. I'm trying to remember when it changed because it's like I'm going through the book and I'm like, when did we learn how to round that? Did y'all learn that in school? No. Nobody tells me they learned it that way in school. So I'm going, I asked my daughter that. She's like, no. I'm like, okay, whatever. So anyway, this one rounds like you're supposed to. If it's 5, it goes up. Doesn't matter what that number is right there. So we do that. It's 2683. If I go down another one, it's 26.8. And then if I just want a whole number, it's 27 because it was 8, so it went up. So that's how you can add or take away decimal places, okay? Now you also have your formatting up here as far as the style, right? So if you needed, let's say you needed these, a specific style. Let's say they needed to be green. So like later on, we're going to talk about these conditional formatting thing, where you can highlight certain cells and you give it, tell it to be a certain thing. Like, let's say it's a positive number. If it's a negative number, like the negative numbers could be red. It was like, hey, look in this range. If any of the numbers are red, you do that. Or any of them are negatives. All right, but we can talk about that a little bit later. All right, let's see, entering dates, numbers, columns and rows, column width, text, wrap, row heights, calculating with formulas, entering a formula, copy and pasting formulas, calculating with functions. All right. So their example here is you could do this plus this plus this plus this plus this, or you could just use a range and do sum, and then you put your range in parentheses. Range always has to be in parentheses. Now, here's something cool that is really nice about Excel. if you are wanting to make a formula, right? Now, one of your options is, why are you doing that? Let's click on it. There we go. All right, so one of your things that you can do is you can go up here and you can click on, these are all your basic functions that you can do. Well, you also can go over here to formulas, and you got all kinds of interesting, well, you got the same idea. So you've got financial ones, you've got logical ones, you've got text, date and time, lookup and reference, math and trig, and so on. Well, you also have this one where you can click on more functions, and it pulls this up. You can even type in what you're looking for. Like, for some reason, it must have thought I was in trig, so I could just use most recently used, like average. You want to average something, you're going to use that. So, you know, if I needed to do average, let's say I'm putting it here for some reason, I wanted to average the cost of what I have. So I can do average, hit OK. It comes up with this. So what does this mean? Well, this is just your range. So then I could just highlight. This is where I'm talking about picking things instead of typing it in. I could pick this range right here, even though I don't have anything in this one. I'm going to pick it. That way, if in the future, it would fix it. Then you click on the little down arrow right there, and then it tells me that's what my answer is. And it tells me what it's doing. And it also tells me if something's wrong. It helps you get the formatting correct so that Excel knows what you're doing what it wants you to do. Okay? So then you hit OK. And so that right there is the average of all of these. And you click on it, it says average E3 through E17. And that's a colon in between there. All right. You also have insert function. So let's see, insert function does the same thing. I'm usually on the home thing. I just go over here. If I'm not looking for one of these basic ones, I click on more functions. And then, you know, if I don't find what I'm looking for, I can type in more and then hit go. Like, yeah. All right. Okay, well now what if I wanted to know how many different categories I had here? I needed to count something, okay? So I'm going to do count, all right? So let's do that, all right? I could type in equals and count, or, well, here, let me just show you this way. So the nice thing about this is if I type in equals, and then I start typing COU, oh, hey, it's giving me some options for formulas I could use, right? Or functions. So I'm like, I want to do count. So you click on count, double click on count. Now it shows me what it wants, what it's looking for. It's saying, okay, we're going to put count, parentheses, and then value 1, value 2, and then what do you want to do with it? Okay. Well, if you're not sure about what this part means, that's okay. Then what you can do is go to the formula thing here. And let's say I wanted to count numbers. Well, that's automatic, and that's not what I want. So let's do that. So we don't want to do that. So let's go to more functions, and then we'll pick up on count, and we'll hit OK. Now it's saying, you know, oh, I've got some kind of a thing in here. What is that? Well, okay, let's click on that. All right, it's showing these guys. So it's not highlighting them, so I need to look over here. What is G? Oh, it's on the G, so it's over here now. I don't want that. So what if I said count So I want to count just, as long as there's something in here, it should just count each one of these, right? So I'll do this like so. And so I'll do that whole range. Click on the little down arrow. And so it's telling me that there's 12 items there. Well, if I want to just, for giggles, we'll say, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's 12 of these cells from here up to here that have something in them. And that's how you can use the count command. Pretty cool. Now, are you guys going to have questions? Are you going to have to reread some of the directions occasionally? Yes. Take your time and go through it, just like on the Word, and it'll be fine. Okay, let's go back over here. So that's some of the formulas. And it is helpful maybe to look through here and understand what it's doing. Inserting functions with AutoSum, just did that. Modifying a worksheet, doing what? Moving, copying cell ranges. I did that earlier. All right, using the count function. So there's an actual, shows you how to do the count function right there. Which I just did as well, modifying rows and columns, inserting, deleting rows and columns. Well, we did do that earlier too. So, like I said, if I needed more of these here, I could like highlight these 3 and just do insert, and it'd add me 3 more. If, let's say I said, oh, well, I really didn't need that many, or, oh, I didn't, I'm done, I don't want any extra rows in here. Right click, delete. It's going to move them up. Click off of it. All right. Inserting, deleting rows and columns, inserting, deleting range. Just highlight it and delete. Now, what happens when you grab a bunch of information and delete it? It might ask you, hey, do you want to scoot the other stuff up? Do you want to move stuff over? So you need to pay attention to what it's asking you. And if it, because if there's other information, it wants to know what you want to do with that. Do I need to move that information up, or do I just leave it? So those are things to keep in mind as well. All right, formatting the worksheets. Let's see, borders, changing fonts, printing. Okay, so let's look at that. So printing the workbook, right? So this is where we can go to page layout and go to, we can go to view, go to page break preview, and now, see, it's got page 1, right? Well, it's not going to print all on page 1 because technically it says page 2. So there's page 1, page 1, and page 2. Well, if I wanted this all to be on one page, I can grab that little divider and drag it over, and now that's all on one page. And then, I could do this if I didn't want any of that to print also. But what happens if I did want that, but I did want it with 2 pages, or I need to insert a page break right here, let's say. So that's where you go to page layout, and you've got breaks. Insert page break. Boom. So now that's page 1, that's page 2. Okay, well, you could go to page break and remove page break, except I have to have this. There we go. So you got to click on the row so that it'll find the right one. All right, so that's how you can insert or take out page breaks. That's kind of nice. So anyway, if that was, do that as one page. So then I can go to, like that's print area. So I could click on, I could just, right now that should be, have my print area set. I can set my print area. You have selected a single cell for the print area. Oh, I did, didn't I? I had that one. That's not good. So I should have selected this. I wanted this print area or that. And clicked on print area, set print area. Now it's right. Okay, there we go. Well, anyway, so there's my print area. I can go to File. I can go to Print. And now it's going to give me a preview of what it looks like. Now, this is what's going to show up whenever you put it on Blackboard. So when it's telling you to set it up a certain way in the print setup, follow the directions and do that so that when I look at it, I'll know if you did it right. Okay? Because it won't look right if you show me the formulas, but most of the time I can tell if you did it or didn't do it right. Especially if it takes you forever to do something. I might question whether you were just sitting there and not doing the formulas. Also try to walk around and pay attention and make sure you are. So use the formulas. It'll save you a lot of time and frustration, and you'll just be done and good to go. All right, so we'll click back off of that, go back to here, and then under views where you can go back to normal. And let's see, what else is in that one? It's almost time for the lunchtime stuff. Page orientation, that's under the layout. Scaling options. Oh, well, yeah, I guess we can do that. So, there's page layout view. Anyway, page layout, print titles. Print titles pulls this up. So, if you click on print titles under page layout, it'll pull up the actual page setup. You can get there from print also, okay? So you've got page, adjust 80%, fit to one page. So if it says fit to one page, you can click fit to one by one. Landscape or portrait, you can change that. Margins, you can adjust your margins here. There's also a quick margin button up there under margins. Header and footer is where you can put that kind of in. And then your sheet, print area, rows to repeat at top. You can click on which ones to pick. Columns to repeat at left, and then you can click on that. That comes later on. But anyway, grid lines, if you want to do that. So, and then you can do a print preview, and it'll show what it looks like. All right, so print options, just get that. Viewing worksheet formulas. Okay, so it may ask you to show the formulas. How do you do that? Go to formulas, and then you click on show formula right there. Makes everything wider, but it shows me your formulas. Okay. So I can check that at random if I want to. So make sure you use your formulas. Learn how to do it. It makes it easier. It'll take you much less time to do that. All right, let's see. That's it. And then, okay. So first thing you're going to do, create a new blank workbook. Save it as NPEX equipment. All right, so we've got this right here. So in cell A1, you're going to put this, cell A3, this, A4, A5, B3, B4, B5, okay? And then tells you what to do with the text. add a new worksheet. Okay, good deal. Called equipment. And then in A1, you're going to put conference equipment expenses. And then here are the information you put in the cells. So this cell, put this text. And then it'll tell you to enter the column titles and expense values for this. All right, then enter total as a label and range and as a label for F14. In the range F15, F20, calculate the total cost of each equipment item by entering a formula that returns the value of the number of units ordered multiplied by the cost per unit. So, number of units ordered, that, cost per unit, so it would be this cell times this cell. And you can just use the asterisk, okay, for multiplication. If you look on your number pad, that's where all your math symbols are. Now remember, sum adds things up, okay? Don't use difference or whatever for subtraction. Just use the subtraction, the dash over there on the keypad. For some reason, sometimes that one will work, sometimes it doesn't. So anyway, you just step on through until you get this thing done. Use count, and then enter within budget or over budget. Save the workbook. That's the first one. All right, let's see. This one is a travel log for the trucking. You got documentation sheet, travel log worksheet. So this one, you're actually going to have a file that you have to download. You've got miles as the column label, okay? Well, that's what it means. Just put it in that. That's the label of the column. That's all it means. It's just, you're naming the column that. That's all it means. Miles column, blah, 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 all that. Fuel purchases. So I'll be able to figure out real quick if you mess with this or didn't. So here's the thing. Don't turn in a file that's the original file and think that I'm going to give you credit. I'll look at this stuff. I know if you've done something or not. Don't do that. That irritates me. You might as well have not turned anything in. Makes me want to give you a 1 instead of a 0. Because for some reason I feel like that's even worse. Because I know what you did. Now that's not like whenever a person downloaded a file, did all the work on it, forgot to save it, and then uploaded it from the downloads because they didn't think about saving it, and that's okay. That happened on the student information sheet. I get it, because, we don't always think about, oh, I need to save it. Well, make sure you save stuff, okay? You're going to have to save it as every so often, hit Control-S after you've named it. So first time, save it as whatever it tells you to, and every so often, hit Control-S. That way you've got your saves. Then you can have the right file to turn in. If you turn in the original file, don't do that. Either turn in something finished or don't turn anything in at all. If you're having problems, say, hey, Mr. Doty, I don't get it. I would like some help, please. Please is a good word. And get a little help? Sure. But ask, okay? I don't mind. But I also need reference when you ask what something is. Because like I said, it's been 4 or 5 months since I've done this. And what you're asking I really have a simple answer for, but I may not have it in my brain as that. I have to go look at where it's at. So anyway, just clue me in on where you're at when you have a question, and it's fine. Do ask questions though. I do want you to ask questions. Anyway, but also be patient and let me go through stuff in case I answer the question. Maybe I don't. We'll see. But as far as the labeling thing, all they're saying is that's the name of that column. So it's at the top of the column, basically. You know, the first cell in that column. Put it there. That's what I'm getting out of when it says label. Like, oh, well, that's just, they're just saying that's what's in the cell. All right, so do you guys have any questions? All right, so that's Excel 1. After lunch, I'll talk a little bit about Excel 2 and 4. I may just wait. I'll wait till Tuesday on 4. For those of you who have Monday, Wednesday classes, don't forget that Monday is a holiday. We will not be here. Obviously, this class won't, but if you have a Monday, Wednesday class, or you're Tom, we have a holiday on Monday. I will be camping. I will not be thinking about school. Grand River Lake. Yeah. My family has a lake house down there on the lake, and so we go down and we camp at the, it's just around the corner from the lake house. And we all meet there and do family stuff. Anyway, if y'all have any questions, lunchtime. Let's eat. And we'll catch up after lunch. What kind? Metric or inch?